We'll study the topic, the two illusions.
The two illusions. The imposition of God as the creator of the world seems plausible, quite reasonable. But then it is a mere theory, a supposition, a speculation. By maintaining the theory that God created the world, you segregate God and the world, thereby restrict the nature of God. Moreover, by making God a creator, you attribute motives to God, label God as desire-ridden. You reduce the infinite to a finite being. You need to get over such belief to recognize an illusion you are caught up in. The self-realized have declared from their own experience that the world you perceive is an illusory projection upon the Supreme Reality, and that there are two illusions, the intrinsic and the extrinsic, playing upon the human mind. The mass of humanity is lost in these illusions. An intrinsic illusion is one in which the real object and its image do not coexist. When the image appears, the object disappears. And when the object is cognized, the image disappears. The object and the image do not appear simultaneously. An example of the intrinsic illusion is a child seeing a ghost in the dark where there is a post. The child does not see the post. You see the post. You do not see the ghost. You bring in light, illumine the post. The child now cognizes the post. Instantly, the ghost is gone. You will notice that only one of them appears at a time. It is either the post or the ghost. The object and image can never appear together to the same person at one time. That is an intrinsic illusion. An extrinsic illusion is one in which the object, image, and the medium which causes the image appear together. All three are present at the same time. An example of an extrinsic illusion is reflection in a mirror. You see your image in the mirror. The mirror is the medium that produces your reflection. In this illusion, you, your reflection, and the mirror all appear together. The object, image, and the medium present themselves simultaneously. That is an extrinsic illusion. There's another interesting phenomenon about the two illusions, that both the intrinsic and extrinsic facets appear simultaneously in a single illusion. Consider a boy treading on a rope in the dark. He mistakes it for a snake. He sees a snake. He does not see the rope. Only one of the two is seen. That accounts for the intrinsic illusion. On deeper scrutiny, one finds therein an extrinsic illusion created as well. The boy describes the snake to be 6 feet long, 4 inches thick, brown in color. The rope also is 6 feet long, 4 inches thick, and brown. The boy's description of the snake fits exactly with that of the rope. The properties of rope is mirrored in the illusory snake. The properties of snake is merely a reflection of the properties of rope. The appearance of the illusory snake acts as the medium, causing the reflection of the properties. The moment the boy's mind projected the snake upon the rope, the snake becomes the medium for the properties of rope and the properties of snake to present themselves together at one time. Thus, the two sets of properties and the medium all appear simultaneously. That accounts for the extrinsic illusion. Human beings are caught up in both intrinsic and extrinsic illusions in their experience of the world. Brahman, the Supreme God, alone exists. But you see the world, a pluralistic phenomenon of things and beings. You do not see the one reality. You are thus caught up in an intrinsic illusion. You experience an extrinsic illusion as well. You see the properties of Brahman reflected in the world. Brahman is said to be eternal, all-pervading, infinite. These properties are reflected in the world that you experience. The world is made up of time, space, and causation. Time is eternal, space is all-pervading, and causation infinite. Thus, the properties of Brahman are seen reflected as the properties of world. The world acts as the medium causing the reflection of the properties. The moment the world appears, the properties of Brahman, the properties of world, and the medium, all three aspects show up. Thus are you caught up in an extrinsic illusion. Both the intrinsic and the extrinsic illusions appear in the human experience of the world. Nevertheless, there is but one reality, Brahman, God, that exists. It is the ignorance of Brahman that causes the illusion of the world. The non-apprehension of Brahman, the self within, causes the misapprehension of the world. You do not see the supreme reality. Instead, you see the world. The solid, seeming world is just a play of the illusions. The purpose of life is to cross over the illusions and recognize the supreme reality behind them. Apprehend the reality, attain spiritual enlightenment, become one with God.
The two illusions, the intrinsic and the extrinsic. There is one topic that you get to read only once in the entire course. That is this intrinsic and extrinsic. Before this and after this, we don't even talk about it. We generally talk about Maya, but we don't go through this kind of analysis. Since we are studying that, I thought we will go over the book once again. Venkat. Some justification is given, no? The two illusions, intrinsic and extrinsic. The three words in Maya is very important. The English words are used. I'll give the Sanskrit words and then we'll move on to the English words. Then it becomes easy to the three words. In fact, it's three qualities. The three words refers to the three qualities. One is avarna. Avarna means that which covers, hides, that which covers. Second is vikshepa, projection. The third one is mala, impurity. In the introduction about Maya, so many things we said. And one of the definitions we spoke about Maya is contradictions coexisting. Maya has these contradictions coexisting. What are the contradictions coexisting? On the one side, Maya has these three: Mala, Avarna, Vikshepa. On the other hand, Maya has this Viveka Shakti, the discriminatory power, by which you can cross over the Maya. We are using the discriminatory power of Maya to overcome Maya. That's what we are studying. That's what we are trying to do here. Are you able to follow? Maya has these things. It has the first is Avarna, intrinsic illusion. It covers. Then is Vikshepa, projects something else. When the mind becomes a victim of these two, when the mind is carried away by this avarna and vikshepa, it develops mala, impurity. What is that impurity of the mind that we are not discussing, but for whatever reasons, you know what is the impurity of the mind. Krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, bhaya. These are the impurities of the mind. In the Bhagavad Gita, first he spoke about Yoga Maya, which is the Avarna and Vikshepa, and then he spoke about likes and dislikes, the Mala. Now, what are we using to understand this Maya? Another aspect of Maya, which is Viveka Shakti. Viveka Shakti means discriminatory power. The power to the ability to discriminate, which is what very, very loosely called as buddhi, the intellect. Buddhi, the intellect, is nothing but making use of a power. What is that power? That power of Viveka Shakti. So, Maya has these two. What is these two? Two contradictory things. What is the contradictory things? Mala, Avarna, Vikshepa as at one end. Viveka Shakti at, supposing if Viveka isn't there, what will happen? We will be permanently caught up in this Maya, and there is no way out of Maya. If Viveka Shakti was ever present from the beginning, Avarna, Vikshepa, Mala itself could not rise. But then what is Maya? A beautiful contradictions coexist. Now what we are doing now is, we are using the Viveka Shakti of the Maya, which is the discriminatory power, which is where we can gain knowledge, understand, dissect, slice, dissect, I don't know what all we do, to understand how the Maya plays. And how the Maya plays, first is intrinsic, second is extrinsic. In reality, both happens at the same time. Even though for analytical purposes, we speak about it as separate, both happens at the same time. Nishkama karma, karma yoga removes mala. Bhakti, physical things, all that, what is technically called Raja Yoga, Pranayama, etc., removes Vikshepa. Avarna is removed by Jnanam, knowledge, Vedantic study. The Manana Nididhyasana. Vikshepa uses these disciplines to cross over Maya. Vikshepa uses these three. What are the three? For Mala, what do? For impurities, you do Karma Yoga. Nishkama Karma, Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma, etc., etc., etc. For Vikshepa, what is Vikshepa? Projecting something else. You see the plurality. Instead of seeing the plurality by bhakti and etc., you understand everything is divine. All are God. You understand everything as divine. Vikshepa. Vikshepa goes. Then comes Avarna, the base. And that is removed by study, reflection, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and this I am Atma, Brahma, holding on to Tattvamasi aphorism and practicing I am Atma, Brahma, holding on to Tattvamasi and practicing I am Atma, Brahma, the Avarna removes. Okay. All this has to be understood when we discuss these illusions. Otherwise, it looks like what is this intrinsic? What is this extrinsic? How does it connect to the practice that we are into? With the trait of a scientist, the researcher, Vedanta slices through life. It sliced through life. And when it sliced through life, it found out these two. Avarna, Vikshepa. Intrinsic and extrinsic. First, what is intrinsic illusion? Intrinsic illusion is where it has a specific aspect. What is a specific aspect of intrinsic illusion? One exists, the other doesn't exist. The object and the image do not coexist. That is intrinsic. Okay. We know what illusion is. What is an illusion? You see something which is not there, and you don't see what is there. Correct? What is the definition of illusion? You see which is not there. You see something which is not there, and you do not see what is there. The one who has crossed over the Maya, the one who has sliced through this Maya, is working backwards and explaining to us what is happening. So, what you got to understand here, the discussion here happens between two levels which is difficult to bridge. What are the two levels that is difficult to bridge? Especially in the context of this discussion of Maya, the one who is not seeing the Maya and one who is fully caught up in the Maya. That discussion is happening. Are you able to follow? The one who is seeing the rope, who refuses to accept there is a snake. Another person is one who is seeing the snake, refuses to accept that there is a thing called rope. So what will be the quality of this discussion? This person will be independently talking something. That person will be independently saying something with no bridge. No way it is bridged. Vedanta says, no, there is a bridge. There is a bridge in Maya itself, there is a bridge. What is that bridge in Maya that we have to use? The Viveka Shakti. Viveka Shakti means the ability to to think, to analyze, to discriminate. We make use of that. So the one who is not seeing the snake is making use of one power in the one who is seeing the snake. What is that one capacity the one who sees the snake has? The ability to discriminate. The one who sees the snake, not only he is only seeing the snake, he also has another capacity. Imagine if that capacity isn't there, what will happen? Nobody can transcend Maya. So what they do, even though the person is seeing the snake, they're caught up in the snake, etc., he has a unique potential. What is that potential? That Viveka Shakti. Viveka Shakti, discriminative power, what is known as the, what is very generally loosely called as the intellect. So the one who has crossed over the Maya is appealing to the intellect of the one who is caught up in seeing the snake. In the background, understand this discussion. Then it becomes clear. Understand this discussion in this background. Now this person has started. What has he started? There are two illusions, the intrinsic and the extrinsic, playing upon the human mind. The first para we have already discussed. That's why I'm not going into the first. Because God as the creator of the world, etc. and all that, we have studied a lot. So straight away we start with the two illusions. The one who sees the rope is appealing to the discriminative power of the one who is convinced that this is the snake. Now, how to appeal to him that what you are seeing is not what it is and something else? Intrinsic illusion and extrinsic illusion is an elaboration and explanation. Are you able to follow? It is an explanation. First, what is intrinsic illusion? Intrinsic illusion is where the object and the image do not appear simultaneously. One will be there and the other will not be there. That is called intrinsic illusion. Extrinsic illusion is where for an illusion to happen, what all is required? When we are discussing the extrinsic illusion, we are discussing this. For an illusion to happen, what is required? Three things are required for an illusion to happen. Illusion means three things are there in an illusion. If it is wrong to say three things are required to make an illusion, only one thing is required to make an illusion. What? Ignorance. Yeah, there are no three things for illusion to happen. Ignorance. So in an illusion, three things exist. There are three things in an illusion. What are the three things in an illusion? The object, the image, and the medium. Illusion. Now this is the dissecting the illusion. Illusion has three things. Even when I say requires, consists and all, understand it like this. What? It has three things. The illusion is made up of three. What are the three? The original, and then the reflection. The third one is the medium that caused the reflection. So in an intrinsic illusion, the first stage of an illusion is the intrinsic. The second stage of the illusion is extrinsic. When we say stages means, please understand stage 1, stage 2 now. 10 minutes later, there will not be any stages. It will be simultaneous. Even here, why are you confusing? Why can't you say it with clarity? Why can't you say it with clarity? First you say it is stage 1, stage 2, and then if you say simultaneous, and then if you say it is simultaneous, what is right now? On these two, what do we take? Stage 1, stage 2 should we study, or simultaneous we should study? To understand that there is avarna and vikshepa, it is spoken about as though they are separate. To understand intrinsic and extrinsic, it is spoken about as though they are separate. But in reality, they are not separate. That is why when we go to the actual Maya, the third paragraph, we say how everything appears simultaneously in a single illusion. So first is just for understanding purposes, for the buddhi to understand it, it has to be analyzed as separate. Buddhi, discriminative power, can understand something when it is broken up. That is the English word analysis. The very word analysis means to break it up into parts, and it cannot be broken further. You break it up, you break it up, you break it up, you come to that bare minimum and say it is made up of A, B, C. Then the discriminative power can understand. Matter is made up of solid, liquid, gas, broken up. Understood. Matter is made up of atom. Understood. Matter is made up of proton, neutron, electron. Understood. Correct? You go on breaking it up. You go on breaking it up. You go on breaking it up. When you break it up, it is easy to understand them as individual parts. Once you understand them separately and then you work backwards, you know how everything is together. Though you analyze it as though they are separate, you understand it, they are together at one level. So first what we are doing, we are analyzing the intrinsic separately and extrinsic separately. As though avarna is separate, vikshepa is separate, intrinsic is separate, extrinsic is separate. We talk like that first. What is the first one? Before we start, illusion means first we dissect the very illusion itself. What is the dissecting the illusion first? Three things: object, image, and the medium by which the image reflects. So you have the image, you have first original soul. Yeah. First the original, the image, the medium. Illusion means illusion consists of these three. Are you okay till now? Okay, we'll start from here. Whatever we spoke for the last 30 minutes, forget it. Varna, vikshepa, mala, impurity, forget it. We start from here. Illusion consists of three. Only when these three are there can be a phenomena called illusion. What is it? The original. What for practical purposes here we call it as object, image, the medium. Original, image, the medium. First one is the object and the image. First one is the object and the image. Example of for which you can understand it only through examples. Upamanada. That's why the post and the ghost. The post is the original. The ghost is the image. The post is the original. The ghost is the image. Now, this person sees, the person who sees the post do not see the ghost. One who sees the ghost do not see the post. It's either the post or the ghost. This is called the intrinsic illusion. This is called the intrinsic illusion. Then comes the extrinsic. Where does extrinsic start? when you start describing the image, where does extrinsic start? Ganesh, Priyartha, where does extrinsic start? When you start describing the image. When you start describing the image, what are you using? The medium. The medium you are using. What is the medium that you are using? The properties of the original. The properties of the original is used as the medium, within brackets, out of ignorance. That is implied here. You need not say it. Out of bracket, sorry, not out of bracket, within brackets. Within brackets, it is implied. What? Of course, ignorance. So, out of ignorance, when you start describing the image, where do you borrow the properties to this is what the image is? You describe it. You describe it. You are clear about it. You are convinced about it. You are so convinced about it. Where do you, this image, where does it get its properties from? Qualities and properties from the object. From the object. For intrinsic illusion, separate example. What is a separate example? The post and the ghost. For extrinsic illusion, separate example. What is a separate example for extrinsic illusion? Reflection in a mirror. The reflection in a mirror. You stand in front of the mirror. You know you are the object. And you know the reflection. What is the medium? You stand in front of the wooden door. Will you see anything? You stand in front of the steel door. You see yourself. You need a reflecting surface. That reflecting surface. Mirror is the medium. Are you able to follow? So, for the image to be seen, what is necessary? A reflecting medium is necessary. Otherwise, the image will not come about. Okay. Now we have understood these two illusions are separate. Sir, we studied all this last week itself. Correct? We studied all this last week itself. Now we are combining these two. And when we are combining these two, the classic Vedantic example for Maya comes in. When you are combining these two illusions, intrinsic and extrinsic, the classic Vedantic example comes in. What is the classic Vedantic example? Rope and the snake. Rajju Sarpa Nyaya, it is called. The rope and the snake. Now consider this example. What is that example? The boy mistaking the rope for a snake. Both the illusions are playing together. Both the intrinsic and extrinsic are together in this. What are the two illusions? First is the intrinsic. For elaborative purposes, we are saying first and second. The process is simultaneous. For elaborating purposes, we are saying 1 and 2. Practical purposes, it happens simultaneously. So first thing is what? Intrinsic. What does intrinsic means? The boy sees a snake. He does not see the rope. Correct? Only one is seen. The image is seen. The object is missed. What illusion it is called? It's called it is called intrinsic illusion. On deeper scrutiny, you find an extrinsic illusion. On deeper scrutiny. What is deeper scrutiny means? Deeper scrutiny means you start elaborating it, explaining it. You start elaborating it, you start explaining it. When the boy starts elaborating, explaining how he describes the snake, 6 feet long, 4 inches thick, brown in color. This is the description of the snake. The one who is seeing the rope understands what? The one who is seeing the rope. Correct? Are you able to understand now? The one who is seeing the rope. The one who is seeing the rope understands. What does that person understand? The properties of the snake is mirrored. The properties of the rope is mirrored in the illusory snake. You work backwards. The properties of the snake is nothing but the property of the rope. What is the medium here? Rope is the object. Snake is the image. You need a reflecting medium. You need a mirror. What is the mirror here? What is the mirror here? The properties acts as the mirror. The properties. Property is the mirror. What is the property? The property of the rope is the property of the snake. This is the entire confusing aspect in the very confusing aspect in the entire Maya is this. And it has to be confusing only because it is anirvachaniya, beyond the comprehension of intellect, and all that is already being told very clearly. But still they make it still they are making an attempt to elaborate. Again we repeat. Don't worry, 2-3 times I will do it. Till you get bored and say, we understood Maya, sir, we'll go to the next. Yeah, we'll go to the next. Yes. I'll elaborate it again. The first one is the snake and the rope only we are discussing. The boy sees the snake. When you see the snake, rope do not exist. That's why, if you remember when we did Atma Bodha, we said half rope and half snake and all cannot exist. Either one, either there is the rope or there is the snake. You can't say the first half of is rope and the second half of it is the snake. The first illusion, what only one exists. As soon as you see the snake, how do you cognize the snake? You cognize the snake only because of some properties it has. If you are not able to cognize the properties, if you are not able to understand the properties, you will say what it is. You will not say there is a snake. Vijay, I am talking, I am not able to understand what I am talking. How do you even recognize the snake? Because you give it there is a quality, there is an attribute, there is a property. Since you give it a quality, an attribute, a property. Now, where does the image borrow the quality property from? It has to borrow from the object only, correct? Supposing if I stand in front of mirror, aina yaru? Me. I stand in front of mirror. And I see in the reflection, my reflection I see. In that reflection, if I see, what will I see? I have nice black hair, like Ram Subramaniam. Now, can it happen? Okay, Ram Subramaniam stands in front of mirror. Put it in the reverse. Ram Subramaniam. You stand in front of mirror. And if you see, can you see that? Will you see that? Now, at this moment, will you see that? It is not possible. Why? Because the reflection cannot be any different from the original. If you are seeing the reflection any different from the original, you are only hallucinating. That is why the three words we discussed already. The Sat, the Asat, and Mithya. We discussed that already. Supposing I stand in front of mirror and I see my hair is like Ram Subramanian's hair now. It is not an illusion. It is hallucination. If Ram Subramanian stands in front of the mirror and he says, oh, with all this thing, people look very wise. One day I should also become like this. Hallucination. You don't. Are you able to follow? So, the reflection will necessarily carry the properties from, it has to be from the original only. It cannot be any different from that. Therefore, what is the property of the snake? The boy describes. What is the property of the snake? 6 feet long, 4 inches thick, brown in color. These properties of the snake that the boy is describing is nothing but the properties of the rope. Similarly, now forget the snake and rope. How many things you have to forget? Eh? First you have to forget post and ghost, and then you have to forget mirror and reflection, and then we studied snake and rope, and now you have to forget snake and rope also. Now we come to the crux. What is the crux now? Brahman and the world. That's what we are studying. We are not interested in snake and rope, post and ghost, and mirror and reflection. Brahman and the world. Rope alone exists. Brahman alone exists. Brahman alone exists. Okay. There is a Brahman, and then there is the pluralistic phenomena. You see. There is the Brahman, and then there is the pluralistic phenomena. You do not see the one reality. That is, you are caught up in an intrinsic illusion. That is, you are caught up in an intrinsic illusion. At the same time, you experience an extrinsic illusion also. What is that? What is the world made up of? What is the snake made up of? You ask the person, what is the world made up of? Are you able to follow? What is the world made up of? Attributes, properties. Attributes, properties, matter, etc. Anything, any word you can use. Here we use the Vedantic sense of, here we use it in the Vedantic sense. What is in the Vedantic sense that we are going to use here? You describe the world. You see the world You understand the world and you are elaborating your understanding of the world, correct? You see the world. When you see the world, you have an understanding about the world. What is your understanding about the world? The pluralistic phenomena, etc. That's your understanding of the world, and you elaborate it. And when you start elaborating it, Vedanta comes and says, whatever you are describing about the world is the description of Brahman. Just as whatever you describe about the snake is the rope. Okay. What do you describe the world? How do you describe the world? Everything in the world is infinite. Correct? Though superficially it seems to be finite, when you start elaborating it, it is infinite. What is that infinite thing? Here we have to borrow Vedantic description of the world. Here we have to borrow the Vedantic description of the world. What is the Vedantic description of the world? The world is made up of time, space, causation. Even though science calls it as matter, on deeper scrutiny, matter is also nothing but time, space, and causation. Time, space, and causation. The world is of these three. What are the three? The time, the space, and the causation. How do you say the world is made up of time, space, causation? Remove these three, there will not be a phenomena called world. How do you say that? Remove these three, there will not be a phenomena called the world. What is time? Not the watch time. Huh? What is time? That which makes you recognize one experience as distinct from another experience is time. Are you able to follow? You have to really sit and manana. Lot of manana has to be done in all these things. You cannot straight away grasp it, and at the end of the session, if you get more confused, you heard it rightly in Artham. At the end of the session, if you say, fantastic, sir, today I understood, you have been fully sleeping, isn't it? You have been fully, that's all. The world is made up of time, space, causation. What is time? That which helps you to distinguish between experiences is time. Space. What is space? Existence is space. Existence is space. Causation. Causation is the chain. The causation is the chain. The interconnectivity is the causation. So what is time? That which helps you to recognize the experiences as distinct and different is time. Space is that which holds, exist, everything exists. The third one is when they exist, there is a link. There is a causal link. It's called causation. Okay. What is the example of causation? Out of seed, tree comes. Out of tree, seed comes. There is a perfect causal link. What is time? You recognize different experiences, correct? What is making you to recognize the different experiences? Something starts and something ends. Something starts and something ends. Something starting and something ending is called time. And when this something starts and when something ends, it exists. That existence is called space. So what is world at the, when you dissect the world to the bare minimum, what would you arrive at? You would arrive at these three entities called the time, the space, the causation. And all these three are anirvachaniya, all these three are indescribable, all these three are infinite. Venkatachalam, are you able to follow? You can dissect the world as time, space, and causation. And when you actually go into the description of these three, all these three are indescribable, all these three are infinite. Meaning, at what time did time begin? You can never answer that question. Are you able to follow? You can't say time started on a Monday morning. You can't say that. You can't say time started on a Sunday morning. You can't say that. At what time did time begin? What should be the answer for that? The honest answer. Indescribable. We don't know means indescribable. When we say we don't know, doesn't mean at one point of time we can know. Carefully follow. When I say I don't know, in that I don't know, there is an implication that at some point of time I can know. When we say at what time did time begin, and when we give the answer, I don't know, what is the meaning of that I don't know here? It can never be. It can never be known. Indescribable it is. Why? Because it goes into an infinite regression. What is an infinite regression? For the time to have started, you posit time before time, isn't it? You posit time, so you go into an infinite regression. Anything that goes into infinite regression, indeterminable. It is indeterminable. Second is space. Everything is in space, but where does space start and where does space end? You take the telescope and bigger and bigger and bigger, refiner and refiner and refiner. The telescope, you see, it is never, the never ending. It just doesn't end at all. It is so vast. Even the word vast cannot describe space. Beginning is not known. Obviously, the end also will not be known. But then it is so difficult to comprehend something that has an existence, but the beginning and end cannot be known. Are you able to follow? Human intellect goes into ascharya here, wonderment here. What is that wonderment? Something is existing, but the beginning is not known, the end is not known. What would you call that as? Maya, beautiful word. Maya, beautiful word. Maya. This is as far as the space is concerned. Causation. What is causation? The link. It's not random. One is connected to the one is connected to the other. So causality explains the link. And you go backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards. The fact that we are all sitting here. I didn't see my great-grandfather. I didn't see my great-great-grandfather. I didn't see my great-great-great-great-grandfather, grandmother. Nobody. Why only grandfather, sir? You should say grandmother also, no? Because why you are very masculine, you male thing. Why not? Okay. I have not seen my great-great-grandmother. I have not seen my great-great-great-great-grandmother. But the very fact that I am sitting here is the proof that they all existed. Correct? The very fact that I am sitting here is the proof that they all existed. Now we work backwards, 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 backwards. That father should have had a father. And that mother, okay, that individual should have had a father and mother. Where did they come from? They should have had a father and mother. Where did they come from? Where did they come from? Vedanta, for those who don't understand the logical difficulty in this, puts it in a very story form and says, all are Manasaputras, this is. The Purana says, all are Manasaputra. Manasaputra means that came out of mind. All came out of mind only. Came out of mind means you see it, but doesn't have any. The origin, when we say the father, first father, mother, you go, okay, you can say they came from monkeys. Okay. Again, the same problem. Monkeys had their own father, mother. No, where did that come from? Okay. That monkey came from some, I don't know what it is. You go backwards. You hit an infinite regression where you do not know you can never know the answer. You can never know the answer. So, what is the world? You see something solid, you experience something solid, but on deeper scrutiny, everything about the world is infinite. The finite appears to be infinite. The finite appears to be infinite. Remember the topic we studied before? The finite appears to be infinite. Why the finite appears to be infinite? Because you stand in front of the mirror, the reflection that you see will faithfully reflect. You stand in front of the mirror, the reflection that you see, everything about it will only have the properties of the image, will have the properties of the original only, the object only. Therefore, what is this world that you are experiencing? Finite, limited, has a beginning, has an end. Idella junior student Vedanta. It is temporary. It has a beginning. It has an end. It is temporary. It is changing. Why are you getting affected by all that? Idella kindergarten la rhymes solli kudukumbodhu we study all this. Not that we have transcended all that. Theoretically, we are assuming that we are advanced students now. Ram Subramanian. You are not advanced. Yeah, just because you are sitting here, you are not advanced. Yeah. So you are still the child painting only. No. Wonderful paintings you are doing. You are still the child doing those paintings only. But we assume for understanding purposes, we have the advanced. What is that advanced level? The same world that is seen as temporary, impermanent, is seen as Maya now. It's just not Maya. That very proof, that very world that you see on deeper scrutiny seems to be infinite is the proof of what? The infinite reality supporting it. The infinite reality supporting it. Thus, Maya does two things to you. The understanding of Maya does two things. What is it? It exposes the world and it also proves the reality. Are you able to follow? It does these two things. What are the two things it does? You see the visible universe, you dissect the visible universe. You see the visible universe, you dissect it. First thing that is taken away is what? Creation is taken away. Projection. first thing that goes away is what? Created is gone. Because we understand it's not, the snake is not created, the snake is projected. Even though in a very loose way we can use the word creation, for deeper understanding purposes, we will not use the word creation. We will use the word projection. So first thing is what? The whole world, this entire phenomena is a projection. Projection means some properties, some attributes. And those properties and attributes will be faithfully in relation to what? To the original. To the original. What does it project? What does it project? He's not saying it. I am further elaborating on it. He only says these two, there are these two illusions, cross over these two illusions. That's all. That's what he says. There are these two illusions, cross over these two illusions. Now bonus, how to cross over also we will discuss. He's only saying crossover. How to cross over? This Maya has certain things. What is the certain things that Maya has? It can project thoughts. It can conceal the truth. It can distinguish between what is truth and untruth. Again, I repeat. If the third faculty of Viveka isn't there in Maya, forget it. We can't even sit and understand anything. Because to understand anything, what are we using? The discriminative power. And when we are using the discriminative power, we take the discriminative power right till the end. When we take the discriminative power right till the end, the conclusion that we arrive is Maya. So all understanding is possible only because of the discriminative power. So this Maya has three. What are the three? It can project thought. It can project thoughts. Plurality. As a pluralistic phenomena is what? The thoughts. Thoughts. Further. See, all this you should be knowing by now. Sir, but thoughts, if these are pluralistic phenomena, you should not ask. That's the Atma Bodhala we have studied already. The subtler elements, the grosser elements, Panchikarana, adalla. Remember? Oh, Abdina, we should do Atma Bodha, sir. Maybe shall we go to Atma Bodha again? Don't worry, we will go to Atma Bodha again. Because there we have seen already how the thoughts, the subtler elements and the grosser, the Panchikarana and all that, how it has come to. Are you able to follow? So, the thoughts, the pluralistic phenomena. By projecting the pluralistic phenomena, what is concealed? The truth is concealed. And thank God the Maya cannot do one thing. What? One thing Maya cannot do. Because of that we are saved. What is that one thing that Maya cannot do? It can temporarily cover the discriminative power. It cannot eliminate the discriminative power. Maya doesn't have the capacity to eliminate the discriminative power, but it can cover it. Just as the lamp is covered by the pot. Correct. Just as, very good. The lamp is covered by the pot. It can cover it only. It can temporarily cover it, but it can never eliminate it. If Maya has the capacity to eliminate discriminative power, you will not be sitting in front of me. I will not be sitting in front of you. Why? Because this attempt itself will not happen. But the very fact that we are doing this means Maya is powerless. Maya can only cover it, but it cannot eliminate it. What it can cover? The discriminative power. By repeated Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana and all the spiritual practices, the covering is removed. The covering is removed. That which is there already reveals itself. That's how you cross over the illusion. By doing these practices, you cross over. For which various explanations are given. What is the various explanation? The individual is dissected separately. The world is dissected separately. What is the individual's dissection? The individual dissection is gross body, subtle body, causal body, waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, body, mind, intellect, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, matter enlivened by bulb, enlivened by electricity. All these are using discriminative power to dissect the individual. In all this dissection, what do we understand? There is something in an individual that is indeterminable, non-understandable. Are you able to follow? When you dissect the individual, technically called the jiva, when you dissect the jiva, at the core you say there is something that is non-understandable. Anirvachaniya. You tick mark there. Correct. Then you are on the right track. Okay. Then you dissect the Jagat. Jiva, the individual. Jagat, the world. Discriminative power is only to understand Jiva, Jagat. Jagat means the world. Separately, we dissect the world. How do we dissect the world separately? Dvandvas, gunas, etc. That is dissecting the Jagat. And you go on dissecting. You come to the core. What is the core? The time-space causation. Are you able to follow? You dissect and dissect, you come to the core. What is the core that you will come to? Time-space causation. And all these three are indeterminable, non-understandable. Anirvachaniya. You put a tick mark there also. So, something about the jiva at the core is also not understandable. At the core, the jagat, the world is also non-understandable. And non-understandability. Every week we discover new words. Maintain a separate dictionary for that. So that one day we'll put that also. Again, so, the non-understandability is the core. Why? Because it is beyond the instruments. Why it is beyond the instruments? The projection upon what is it? Upon what it is projected? The Brahman. Since it is projected upon Brahman, and Brahman is anirvachaniya, indescribable, non-understandable, down the line, everything at the core has to be non-understandable, indescribable. What is the power of Maya? At the superficial level, it makes you look. At the superficial level, it makes you look as though you have understood something. Deeper level, you say, you don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. Three words we have used any number of times. Remember those three words. The known, the unknown, the unknowable. Three words, remember that. The known, the unknown, the unknowable. All that was not known yesterday is known today. So, at any given point of time, something is known, something is not known. Step number first one. At any given point of time, something is known, something is not known. And the discriminative power will not allow you to, the discriminative power will not allow you to be satisfied with the known, because the discriminatory power, Viveka Shakti, will not allow you to rest, will not allow you to stay quiet. If you are in rest, you are staying quiet in a tamasic state. We call it as tamasic state. Why we call it as tamasic state? Because the Viveka Shakti, the discriminatory power, will not allow you to stay quiet. It will want to know, okay, that unknown should be made known. Okay, there is something that is known. Why can't you be excited? No, that unknown has to be made. No. The unknown has to be made known. Second step. And all that is known, all that is unknown, all that was unknown yesterday becomes known today. Continuing the same logic, the human being will say, just wait, sir. What was not known yesterday is known today. You wait for some more time. What is not known today will be known tomorrow. Therefore, a time will come where we will become all-knowing. A time will come where we will become all-knowing. Vedanta starts at this point. From Vedanta starts at this point, Vedanta starts. What is that? That all-knowing can never, the all-knowing can never happen. Why? Because it is infinite, it is indescribable, and the instrument with which you are trying to know doesn't have the capacity to, the instrument that you are using cannot know it. Buddha's example. I can give you fire, but if you bring tissue paper, what will I do? He said. You come and ask me fire, I'll give you fire. To carry it back, what are you bringing? Tissue paper. What will happen? As soon as I come in contact, it burns away. No, so you don't have the right instrument. But then there is one factor in Maya. Using Vedanta is resting on that power only. What is that? Through the intellect, you may not understand it, but you can transcend it. Upon transcending, you see it very differently. Vedanta says you cannot understand it. You cannot understand it. But you can transcend. How you can transcend? Maya has three we said. Mala, Avarna, Vikshepa. For Mala, Karma Yoga. For Vikshepa, Upasana, Pranayama, all the bhakti practices. Avarna, Manana, Nididhyasana. By stilling and quietening, and by all these three, stills you, quietens you, silences you. And all these words are very poor words. All these words are very poor words. By this, using the discriminative power, doing these practices, the dreamer cannot understand the waker. The dreamer can become the waker. Using the discriminatory power, the dreamer cannot understand the waker. But using the discriminatory power, the dreamer can become the waker. And we prostrate to Maya also now. Why? Because thank God Maya didn't touch the discriminatory power. That is still kept. That is still kept intact. Kept intact means it is there. Beautiful example, Atmabodha example. Lamp covered by a pot. A discriminatory power is covered by the pot. If it is covered by a glass case, you can see it very clearly. It is not covered by a glass. It is covered by a pot. Light is there, but you don't see it. That is how you understand the illusion, and also you know how to transcend, cross over the illusion. Therefore, when we talk about Maya, we understand the limitation of Maya also. And we are making use of the limitation of Maya. What is the limitation of Maya? The discriminatory power cannot be lost. If it is lost, nothing can be understood after. The discriminatory, thank God, Maya is so powerless. And Vedanta says, forget about Maya, forget about all these things. Let us do the study, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Shravana, Manana, Nidis, all that we will do and strengthen this. This becomes automatic. Because even though it is Maya, Maya cannot cover the discriminatory power. Sorry, Maya cannot eliminate the discriminatory power. Sorry, I used the wrong word. Maya cannot eliminate the discriminatory power. Maya can temporarily cover it. Maya can temporarily cover it. By getting rid of the three defects, Maya, I'm getting Mala, Mala, Maya, Avarna, Vikshepa. Okay. Now the three defects. What are the three defects? Mala, Avarna, Vikshepa are the three defects. And Maya doesn't have any power over one. What? Viveka. Viveka means the discriminatory power. The power to distinguish, discriminate. Viveka. It's called Viveka Shakti. The instrument that has this Viveka Shakti is called Buddhi. So Buddhi is nothing but Viveka Shakti is Buddhi. Using that, what happens? You can dissect, you can slice through, you can dissect, you can, I don't know, you can break it up. And when you break it up, every time you don't hit a dead end. You hit the end of the most Ascharya end you hit. What is that Ascharya end you hit? Ascharya end, it is Anirvachaniya. That is the end. You don't hit a dead end and get disillusioned. You don't hit that dead end. If you are hitting that dead end, you didn't, the Viveka Shakti is not utilized properly. Vedanta study is not done properly. That's why at the end of the second chapter he says, Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam, Ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanyaha, Ascharyavat chainam anyashtrunoti, Shutvapyenam vedana chaivana kaschit. Beautiful verse. So every time you dissect, slice, you will not hit a dead end. What you will hit? The wonderment you will hit. Ascharya. The intellect instrument, the instrument of the intellect opens up in Ascharya. And that Ascharya becomes the driving force. That wonderment becomes the wonderment. That's how you transcend the illusion. The dreamer cannot understand the waker. The dreamer can become the waker. Upon becoming the waker, he understands what? Some temporary thing that happened for a few seconds, that's all. Yeah, just it is like you are, it is like a fly sitting on an elephant. It doesn't, upon waking up, you realize what? Nothing. Upon waking up, you realize nothing ever happened. How do you understand that? Even when you are the dreamer, experiencing the dream world, is the dream world real? No, it is not. But it appears to be so. If it is real, how can it dissolve? If it is real, it cannot dissolve. If it is real, it can only change the form. It cannot dissolve. The fact that it is dissolving means it is an appearance. Are you able to understand the discriminator now? If it is in reality, the form can change. It cannot disappear. The fact that it is disappearing means it's not real. An appearance, a projection. That appearance, that projection is called Maya. Thoda will stop here. We'll continue with the dream line next week, Venkat. Too much of intrinsic and extrinsic. To summarize, Maya is very powerful. But against one thing, it is powerless. What? Discriminatory power. And in all this, and Vedanta is using only that. Vedanta is only using that. What is that one that Vedanta is using? The discriminatory power. What is weakness? The discriminatory power gets clouded sometimes. That's weakness. The discriminatory power gets clouded sometimes. That's where you find in human history, so-called great men also falling for something. It covers. Maya has this capacity to cover it. It can cover it. But what it cannot do, it cannot destroy it. It cannot eliminate it. With this, we conclude. All clarifications we will take up next week.